welcome you to Sherman, Texas tonight, where a colossal late-season six-pointer between a pair of sides below the playoff line takes center stage from the Texoma region. It's Texoma FC and AV Alta FC, and tonight's match is presented by Parker University. We say hello and welcome from historic Bearcat Stadium. I'm Sam Goldfarb. Here is your look at the USL League One table, and it does tell the tale. Right now, AV Alta in a rut, 3 points south of the playoff line. Meanwhile, Texoma, the hosts, 8 points beneath the top 8. With their final 4 fixtures, they need to win at least 3 of them in order to have any hope of cracking the playoff places. Well, it is the third and final meeting, and the first 2 ended in a stalemate. And flashing back to the last one on August 20th, what a thriller it was. Texoma got off to the flying start here in Sherman. 2 goals in the first half from Jauna and Spangler within 5 minutes of one another, and then Luke McCormick adding a third just after halftime. It looked like probably Texoma would secure the points, but Lalo Blancas and company with other ideas. 3 second-half goals to rescue a point away from home from Blancas, Walmer Martinez, and then Steven Ramos' first professional goal at the opportune moment to rescue a result away from home. And when you look at how these teams have fared since that fixture, it has been pretty tough. No wins for either side since that 3-3 draw, and the biggest issue, defense for both sides. Texoma conceding 14 in their last 5, meanwhile AV Alta 12, all of which have come in the last 4 fixtures, including a combined 7-0 scoreline across their last 2 matches. Well, our players to watch tonight are a pair of creative midfielders, and Teddy Baker is as versatile as they come. Adrian Forbes has talked about how he's deployed him a bit further forward the last couple matches, but tonight, in his usual holding midfield role as an 8, look for him to pull the strings as a deep-lying playmaker here this evening. His opposite number is one of the top creative midfielders in all of USL League One, Lalo Blancas, with 9 goals to his name, many of which come from set pieces. He's back in the 11 after suffering a brief knock at the tail end of last month. Look for him to make an impact, especially in dead ball situations, especially in the second half of fixtures as well. We are just about set to get things underway from the Texoma region, the third and final meeting between these 2 clubs, and the biggest of the lot stakes-wise. It is Texoma and AV Alta, lineups and kickoff when we return from Sherman. Stick with us here on ESPN+. We welcome you back to Sherman, Texas, where we are just about set to get things underway in the third and final meeting of the 2025 USL League One season between Texoma FC and AV Alta, a pair of expansion clubs locking horns here in Texoma. Now it's time to get a look at our starting lineup, starting with the home side under first-year headman Adrian Forbes. He makes two changes from what was a 1-0 defeat at Portland Hearts of Pine last week, and one of them comes in defense. The reintroduction of Jordan Chavez, their captain, who was out on yellow card accumulation a week ago. JP Jordan back in the left back after playing as more of the deep-lining midfielder in the previous fixture. Their opposites today in AV Alta, 4 changes for Brian Claben. He shakes things up following a brutal 4-0 throttling at the hands of FC Naples. Emmanuel Alaribe is back up top for AV Alta. 2 changes in defense as well. Eric Seja is in for Steven Ramos, and Sebastian Cruz back to his natural right back position. Not to mention Denzel Smith still between the sticks for Brian Claben's men. He takes over for his counterpart in Carlos Aviles as they mix things up team-wise. Just about ready to get things underway. This is the biggest of the 3 meetings between these two clubs. First 2 ending in a stalemate. Both of these sides hoping, craving even, a victor in it, and they are hoping that it is them. Texoma in front of their home fans for the penultimate time, and if they are to kickstart a postseason push, it effectively must start here. Need to win 3 of their final 4 fixtures to even have a chance, and realistically, 10 points from their final 4 matches would be the most likely scenario, if not a perfect finish, to have any chance. It is AV Alta going from right to left on your screen in their white road strip with the maroon numbers. Texoma in the blacks with red numbers. They'll be going from left to right. And we are underway here in the Texoma region. It is Texoma and AV Alta. A match that carries colossal stakes in the playoff chase. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way. We thank you for joining us here in Sherman. And a fast start already for AV Alta as they search for the white kits ahead. Jauna. Both coaches this week emphasizing to me the importance of defensive solidity. Brian Claben saying last week at FC Naples there was a distinct lack of focus in key moments that led to all 4 of Naples' tallies in what is the most lopsided defeat AV Alta has suffered in their club's history. Texoma Adrian Forbes saying to me, the #1 thing we're focused on is trying to provide a clean sheet. If that requires us to be more pragmatic, that is something we have to consider, especially where results are that much more valuable at this stage of the season. There's Alisson. Now Walmer Martinez, the former longtime USL Championship man. You wonder especially how AV Alta fares in a scenario like this. The pitch here in Sherman, a bit more narrow than they're used to in Lancaster especially, where they play on a pretty expansive field that suits their style. Here tonight, things a touch more cramped, especially between the lines. May not be a lot of space, with Texoma often resorting to a low block, with AV Alta in possession. Here's Blancas. Desdoon, player that Brian Claben says is one of the most talented pieces in USL League One. And the ball to Martinez, rolls comfortably back to Javier Garcia, who's made the #1 goalkeeping position his own since the middle of spring. Desdoon comes loose to Jauna, who's always a threat on the counter, and this is where Texoma must be dangerous. Dragged down by Cruz, and an early free kick for Los Pájaros. Something for AV Alta to contend with early on here. Teddy Baker lingering, as is Ozzy Ramos, who's been the go-to set-piece taker of late. I mean, Jauna is still walking gingerly after that challenge from Sebastian Cruz. It's Baker to take towards goal, and right at Denzel Smith, the Trinidad and Tobago international, who is back in the lineup after one game spell for Carlos Aviles. Those two have been trading the #1 shirt all season long. Spangler looks inside, laid off to Baker, plays the extra pass to Jauna. Effort blocked at the source by Alassane. Room the other direction, perhaps, for AV Alta. Jordan winning it right back for Texoma. It's a Texoma squad that suffered a frustrating defeat a week ago at Portland Hearts of Pine. Fell in 1-0 fashion after controlling possession for the lion's share of affairs, but Adrian Forbes lamenting a lack of cutting edge in the final third. He said it was good for spells, and there was plenty of promise in the performance, but unfortunately unable to get a result. And he says it's made this week difficult game planning wise, because understandably, they need wins at this stretch of the season, but also he says he has a duty of care to his players to put them in a position where they can flourish going forward and play expansively at times. And the fact that they played, in his eyes, well at Portland and still lost makes things that much more difficult when it comes to plotting and planning tactically. McCormick loses it out of play on the near side. Blancas looking to shift the play. Nearly did so towards Desdoon. Falls nicely for Cruz, who can join the attack now. Looking for Martinez, and it is right at Garcia. He is not shy about coming off his line. The question is, does that sometimes get him into trouble? Baker. Jauna. End-to-end affair thus far. For those just joining us, we welcome you into historic Bearcat Stadium in Sherman, Texas. Seats around 6,500, the home pitch of Sherman High School. That's why you see the football field still drawn out. It's been the designated home for Texoma all year. As Baker looks to shift the play. Falls nicely for Perkins, knocked along and just dragged wide. A major chance for Teddy Baker, who just narrowly missed. Terrific build-up. First time hit from Spangler denied. Perkins didn't contact it cleanly, but that nearly worked to Baker's benefit, who would have had Smith beaten at his far post. In the opening stages, a much more expansive Texoma side than we would have expected against a squad like AV Alta that loves to dominate the ball. Hearing word that our camera guy caught that ball, so that's an acrobatic play on the fly from him. Already an early decision for our referee to make. Ozzy Ramos is prone on the deck. A warm night here in Sherman, unsurprisingly around this time of year. Temperatures in the low 80s We're at 7 p.m. local in Texas. Adrian Forbes joking with me that he's still getting used to the heat. It may take another year for the man who spent so much time in London as a native Englishman to adapt to these temperatures. This lofted long towards Desdoon, who does keep it in play. And now darting inside, nearly cut it across. It falls nicely for Cruz, who cleared the wrong set of uprights. Well, you see Adrian Forbes at the bottom of your screen there. His first year at the helm of this expansion club, Texoma. Someone who endured what was a very difficult start. His side not achieving a league victory in the first 2 months of the season before finally toppling Union Omaha. And he was pretty blunt early in the season, saying that he understands that this is a results-based industry and they must produce results. Then they ripped off a compelling span around the middle of the year where they went unbeaten for 8 matches in league play, and it put them in a playoff spot. And over the course of these last 5 matches, winless in that stretch, they've tumbled back outside the top 8 and find themselves having to play a good degree of catch-up to have any chance of reaching a playoffs in its first season of experience. Said to me that he feels that both them and AV Alta are squads that are overperforming their position in the table this year. Maybe not getting results for performances that are good enough to rack up points. Adrian Forbes is someone with plenty of experience, though, coaching in his native England. Of course, a former player himself from USL Championship down to League Two. He uses that experience especially to relate to a lot of his younger players who are just kick-starting their careers. Adrian Forbes, of course, playing at Norwich City in the early stages of his professional pursuits. He's played from every level from the 2nd to 5th tier in his career. Alassane. Seha. A rare start for him at fullback tonight in place of Steven Ramos. Play drags it long. Desdoon in a tussle and just loses out. Cruz wins this back upfield. And now Ramos for Texoma. McCormick. This is Martinez, deployed in a slightly more advanced position tonight after significant experience at left back this year. Desdoon. Well, now you see AV Alta starting to grab the match by the scruff of the neck. They play such a distinct style. Brian Claben has mentioned that that's his identity as a coach and that's his player's identity. Possessing the ball, knocking it about, playing free-flowing, expansive football that for a while looked like it was revolutionizing the league and running counter to this trend of a lot of teams ceding possession and trying to hit on the counter. They have run into a rough patch of late, winless in their last 12 in league play. The last 2 matches are performances that Brian Claben has dubbed unacceptable in his opinion. As Chavez puts this out for a AV Alta corner. Inexplicably at that. And our referee, Jay Schlesinger, will have a conversation with Texoma's captain. Either way, first corner of the match, and it goes the way of AV Alta in rather unforced fashion. And they'll give it right back, so drop ball situation effectively. Well, hearing word it was a bad football that caused that interchange. Either way, we've got it sorted now. Alaribe looking through for Desdoon again. Wrestled back. We inch towards the quarter of an hour mark here in Texoma. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all the action in what is effectively a must-win contest for both these clubs, especially Texoma, a side that finds itself needing at least 8 points from its remaining 4 matches, so effectively 9 points to get over the line and put themselves in playoff contention. Enter the weekend with a distant potential to be eliminated, but with Charlotte falling yesterday against the grain against Spokane, no result can doom them, but a defeat here would prove quite damaging. McCormick looking for McManus, comes out to Spangler. Well, fans, the USL on ESPN2. Watch Sunday, October 5th for a clash of championship teams fighting for playoff life. Eastern Conference Rhode Island FC battles to stay above the playoff line, and Western Conference Las Vegas Lights FC look to climb above the line. October 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. All part of the race to the playoffs presented by Terminix in the USL Championship and League One. This is the fun time of year as we are in the early stages of the league's final month in the regular season. This is where teams separate themselves. This is one back upfield by Spangler. Cross comes in, knocked off of Pajaro. And it does appear Spangler ran it out of play before that transpired. Well, he is a danger man. Ashmir Spangler, Texoma's leading scorer and chance creator. 8 goals and 4 assists to his name. Made a name for himself last season at Tormenta, but he's taken it to a new level with Los Pajaros. Has the freedom to roam wherever he pleases in that attacking midfield trio. And AV Alta knows the danger he can pose well. Of course, scoring the last time these two teams met. Ramos. Aaron touched this. Desdoon for AV Alta, who is a dynamo on the flanks. Clipped at the heels by Ramos. Taken too quickly for Jay Schlesinger's liking. Luke McCormick is down in a considerable bit of discomfort. This is definitely something to monitor for the West Virginia product. It's been an up and down year for him. 5 goals to his name, and he goes down off the ball, which is always a concerning sight. You see here, Desdoon navigating out of danger, and then at the end of all of this, McCormick feels a slight knot, it seems. Physio's getting the training tape out now. 25-year-old in McCormick, who enjoyed a period of complete dominance going forward earlier in the summer. That man, Brian Claben, hoping he can mute his influence tonight. Constructing this AV Alta club from scratch, and talking to him earlier today, he's mentioned that this isn't just a club that seeks to win on the pitch. It seeks to move players along and develop young talent. And that really is demonstrated by the average age of their squad being one of the youngest in USL League One. Said to me that we don't just want to create a club that reaches the playoffs each year. We want to create a club that churns out talent and moves them on to the next level. And playing our style of football, which is so incisive and build-up oriented, allows players to flash their technique and personality and attract clubs in the championship and beyond. Says they've received compliments throughout the league from opposing coaches and league brass alike on the way they play. Blancas arcs this to the back post, and that is well beyond the reach of anyone in white. Fans watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish-language sports network. Detroit City FC takes on Loudoun United FC on Saturday, October 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern on 2DN. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. 20 minutes gone and nothing to separate Texoma and AV Alta. A slight air of caginess between these sides, understanding that a defeat would prove devastating. Here's McManus. Got good contact on it, but a slight deflection takes it back to Denzel Smith. And you get your first look at the first involvement of the 25-year-old from Trinidad and Tobago. An international who's taken the #1 shirt during September World Cup qualifying with the Soka Warriors and is set to leave on international duty again following this match tonight, hopping on a plane to head for 2 crucial fixtures in their quest to qualify for a World Cup. It will be difficult for Brian Claben to be without him for what will prove to be a massive 6-pointer with Charlotte on Friday night, but feels Carlos Aviles more than capable given his experience in the league. It is a club with depth and strength in numbers, and Brian Claben has said to me, no short of a number of times, that this is a meritocracy at AV Alta. Cross comes in for Martinez. It's cut out and falls for McCormick. Brian Claben has said that competition is a regular in training, and you have to show up from Monday to Friday to get into the team on Saturday. Spengler lets it run. Lay there to intercept. Desdoon. That ball lacked the accuracy required, but it did go out for a corner. And this is the first proper corner of the match for AV Alta. Well, the first chance to see what Brian Claben and company have in their dead ball arsenal. And Lalo Blancas, unsurprisingly, one of many candidates to deliver, although it is Walmer Martinez who stands over this. Working in within swing, stabbed away at the near post, and Martinez is offside. Well, for AV Alta, a squad that throughout the year was so prolific going forward. We've spoken so much about the defensive woes, but attacking-wise, they have run into a touch of a rut. Scoreless in their last 2 matches and outscored 7-0 over that span. The Tormenta match, Brian Claben talking about how frustrating that was, dominating the bulk of proceedings, but unable to find the breakthrough, and then the second they conceded, they caved. And last week against FC Naples, there were moments in the opening 20 minutes, including an effort that got cleared off the goal line from Jerry Desdoon, but couldn't turn it into a goal. And when Naples broke through, things started to unravel rather quickly from there. Baker. It's an appetizing ball to Ramos that is cleared only as far as Chavez. Jordan. Spengler. First time ball is read well by Pelivanov. Spengler again, floating forward. McManus down in the box. Texoma plays on, and our referee is unmoved by the appeals. McCormick is exasperated. Get another look at this possible penalty shout. Something brewing here for Texoma, and there certainly was contact in the box. You see Spangler linking well with Ramos, and then plays this right into the path of Brendan McManus, who looks like he lost his footing more than anything, and then McCormick was offside. There are moments when Texoma pops up in fits and starts where they seem poised to cause issues for the visitors here. Jauna, he can certainly pose questions. It's a well-timed tackle from Pelivanov. Al-Assad. There is a touch of it from Blancas. He is obviously regarded as a dead ball specialist, and understandably so. He is probably the best free kick taker in the league, but he can pop up an open play as well. Here's Lay, sprays it wide to Walmer Martinez, who cuts inside on his right. Lays it off for Osvaldo Lay, and that needed to be much more accurate to cause problems. Well, so far, so good from Javier Garcia. Interestingly enough, has saved 5 consecutive penalties that he's faced. Became the first League One player to make 2 penalty stops in a match in their last home fixture, and it was a 3-3 draw against Spokane. Then a night in which Texoma held 3 separate 1-goal advantages before falling, but it was the 2 penalty stops from Garcia that kept them level. Jauna is tugged down, and a set piece for Los Pájaros. We inch towards the half-hour mark, and we still await one of these 2 sides to cut through their opposing back line. Can Texoma do it here? Perkins, he's onside. McCormick catches up to it. Dispossessed by Al-Assad. Martinez just unable to navigate through that traffic. He's been the most involved going forward for AV Alta thus far. And he and Will Perkins are getting into it here on the near side. Lay. This is Blancas. In many ways, he's the veteran presence in midfield. Spent 3 seasons in MLS Next Pro with the Town. Desdoon sticks with it. Plays it forward to Cruz. Falls again for Jerry Desdoon, who's down in the penalty area, and our referee is unmoved. A penalty shot apiece denied both ways. Jauna. And that hits our referee, who is not the most popular man in the venue right now. There didn't look to be a lot in this challenge. You see Desdoon here wrestle it off JP Jordan. And he gets it back after it's cut out. Maybe some slight contact from Ozzy Ramos. Certainly made a meal of it. Looks like, at least on first viewing, it maybe wasn't the best timed of challenges, but harsh to give a penalty there. He's had 2 massive decisions to make, and it's moments without a whistle that have characterized the day thus far. denying Texoma a spot kick on one end. Doing the same for AV Alta minutes later. Jauna. That tapped out for Texoma's first corner of the night. Brian Clay been mentioning to me that last week on Naples' second goal, 6 players on his side were not in the right position. And it deflected out to Kevin O'Connor, who was aided by a deflection, but did produce that doubler on the stroke of halftime. Set piece defending and focus on set pieces, understandably a major concern for Brian Claybin this week. McCormick to take. Arced in towards the near post. It falls nicely. Can't be threaded back into the quarter of uncertainty, though. And now Jauna tugs Cruz down to the deck. Well, an odd way that this has unfolded thus far, because you've seen Texoma have far more enjoyment on the ball than I think neutrals would expect. But at the same token, not able to establish a true rhythm in the final third. Meanwhile, for AV Alta, they've had moments where they look like themselves, where they recycle possession and pin numbers inside Texoma's half, but they have yet to find any semblance of a breakthrough just yet. It has the feel of an October match between sides that feel the pressure, neither squad wanting to give anything away. If one flies in, though, this could change fast. Perkins nodded along to McManus. Another appeal for handball, and this given against Texoma. The high boot on McManus. And Kalayan Pelivanov is still down on the deck, the Bulgarian defender, who's just returned from injury the last few weeks. It's a flick on header. It is a high boot, yes. McManus claiming that he did nothing wrong, but the ball definitely came off his boot and hit Pelivanov. And the half-hearted appeals for handball from the Texoma players don't seem to have any merit there. Baker. Spraying it wide to Jauna, who is flop flanks at the moment. Ramos. As this wears on, you see Texoma looking more and more confident with the ball. This is not the deep-lying pragmatic approach that some may have expected tonight. Baker. Knocked along. Jordan is sent down, and this may be the first booking of the night. That it is. Yellow card shown to Sebastian Cruz, and now it's all popping off. Brendan McManus making himself the lightning rod for Texoma. It isn't the first time that he's drawn scrutiny up top. The referee may have more to sort out here. Here's another look. You see Baker knocks this along to Jordan, who actually gets there late. And then after the fact, shoved down by Sebastian Cruz. Slight frustration, perhaps. He's shown the yellow, and then Brendan McManus decides to make a bigger issue of it. Well, another yellow's been shown. And it looks like it's towards McManus. Referee just trying to cool tempers now. Either way, free kick in a dangerous spot for Los Pájaros, and it's in a similar position to their first one early in the match that at least created some questions for Denzel Smith to answer. It seems we're finally set to take this. Teddy Baker is the lone man standing over it now. Toward the near post again. Still not dealt with, and now finally cleared. Spangler. And now the offside flag is up. Well, fans, Select is proud to be official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. 10 minutes from halftime here in the Texoma region, right near the Texas-Oklahoma border. No score between Texoma and AV Alta. Here's McCormick for Los Pájaros. He's muscled off it by Pájaro. And now one back by Spangler. They are one ball away from truly unlocking this Alta back line. Alaribe penalized for his shove. Emmanuel Alaribe back up front, leading the line after falling into a reserve role around the start of June. You see here, loses the foot race with JP Jordan, and then the forearm out. That will draw the referee's ire 9 times out of 10, and evidently twice on Saturdays. He's dangerous, though. Played in the Moldovan top flight for quite some time, 20 goals and 75 league appearances there. Also played in the Europa Conference League qualifiers. So he's played at a very high level, at least abroad. With the way AV Alta plays, sometimes they get away from a more traditional 9 like himself. They'll move Cerritos up top and deploy a true false 9 setup. Here tonight, though, opting for the more physical presence to lead the line in a fixture where maybe they feel they need someone to carve out space. Perkins is fouled by Lalo Blancas. Calfo, former Central Valley Fuego man. He is very familiar with Jordan Chavez, his partner in the center of defense. Ramos, another former Fuego lad. Spangler loses out. One cleanly according to our referee. Martinez. He's ushered wide to Sebastian Cruz, who's bounced between a more natural attacking midfield role and a makeshift right back role. Here tonight with Cristiano Ortiz on the subs bench, he gets the nod there. This floated forward, and McCormick is onto it. Cleared away, and out for a corner, according to our linesman. A third corner of the night for Texoma. This, the first from the near side. Once again, something for Denzel Smith and his defense to monitor. Taken short. Back to Spangler. Toward the back stick. Once again, Texoma not truly able to test AV Alta or Denzel Smith between the sticks. You look at Texoma going forward, it has been a rocky go of it, at least recently. McCormick falls for Perkins. When you look at Texoma's numbers, just 4 goals over the course of this 5-match winless run. 3 of them came in that 3-3 draw with Spokane. And it must be said, in that match, they did very well to pick apart one of the better defenses in the league. But since then, their lone goal coming from a dead ball situation against Westchester to open the scoring before they were unlocked twice in the final 20 minutes. That defeat could prove to be a critical blow to their playoff hopes if they can't rectify things here or next weekend against Richmond Kickers. A side that is now level with them on points after their victory over Knoxville at home earlier tonight. Playoff chase beginning to heat up for everyone involved. Only one side eliminated in the form of Westchester Soccer Club. McCormick. Into the final 5 minutes of this first half. Texoma beginning to go for it now. There's the Englishman, McCormick. McManus. Desdoon skipping through challenges and now finally fouled. And Ashmir Spengler sees his name taken. Well, a yellow card for Texoma striker and McManus, and now their creative 10 in Spengler. He's the one who commits the first challenge, and the referee goes back to that after Desdoon deletes a few defenders out of the play. I don't think this will warrant any changes from Adrian Forbes, but they must be a bit careful in their pressing actions now. Lay. Garcia forced to knock it out for a corner. Walmer Martinez with more target practice from this far side. Jerry Desdoon is also lingering, and he receives it short. Training ground routine for Blancas. It's deflected out of play, and they will run it right back. So far, little for Javier Garcia to do. He is known for his big shot-stopping ability, the May Player of the Month in USL League One. It's very rare you see a goalkeeper receive weekly or monthly honors especially. He was the selection 5 months ago. Spengler. That throw taken too far upfield for Jay Schlesinger's liking. Right now, this fixture has the feel of a tense affair that is just waiting to explode. A goal would be good for neutral viewing, no doubt, just because it forces the side that concedes, especially if it is Texoma, to come out of its shell. Brian Claiborne right now, you'd feel he must be a little underwhelmed by what he's seen thus far. His side, by no means second best, but lacking that ability to break down Texoma in the final third. And he spoke to me the last couple weeks about trying to attack space quicker, but he says that's a difficult proposition because with the way they play and boss possession, so many teams will deploy a low block against them. And so the only way to manufacture space in that regard would be to dramatically change their style. And that is not what he believes in. It's not what his players believe in. And so it presents quite the conundrum, especially at this point in the season when teams are trying to protect their positioning and not lose matches as much as they are trying to win. It takes that final bit of precision to unlock teams that perhaps AV Alta has lacked the last few weeks. Alaribe. There's no one there to greet that long ball as we enter the final minute of the initial 45. Is there a plot twist before halftime, or will we go into intermission with it still all to play for? Jauna has popped up in fits and starts thus far. Direct to Perkins, providing width. Eric Seha wins that chess match. All eyes on the fourth official in a matter of moments, and it is 3 minutes of added time that separate us from intermission in this first half. We've spoken about it ad nauseum. Chances few and far between. Texoma with probably the best of the match thus far. The Teddy Baker snapshot effort that just trickled wide of Denzel Smith's right post, coming inside the opening 10 minutes. And since then, both squads really struggling to unlock their opposite numbers. Adrian Forbes saying to me this week that there's a lot of conversation about winning your individual matchup with his players. It all comes down to the collective to get results. As Jordan flicks this along, McManus losing the battle and commits the foul in the process. And he has to watch himself. Already one of the two Texoma players on a yellow card at this stage. Blancas hits first time. No real issue for Garcia. Not the first time, though, you've seen Texoma's back line truly break. Cruz. Final minute of the added 3. Jauna this time committing the foul on Blancas. Well, Jauna is known for his directness, his pace and power. Adrian Forbes said to me a few weeks back that he reminds him of a young Adrian Forbes. The biggest point of emphasis with Lamine Jauna this year has been not just his ability to counter, which is his strength, but consistency in the final third. Adrian Forbes has mentioned that he feels that there are 2 or 3 more instances in which Jauna could have had a goal involvement. And then beyond that, defensive shift. He feels that Jauna's defensive work rate has grown by leaps and bounds this year. Says those 2 things held him back during his stint at Phoenix Rising in the USL Championship. He's getting more consistent minutes with Los Pájaros and has flashed plenty of the qualities that initially attracted Phoenix. There is halftime whistle. Nothing to separate these two sides after 45 minutes and change, but a strong Texoma display in the first half, enjoying a better share of the ball in the final third, just unable to unlock the AV Alta back line. Neither goalkeeper truly tested in those opening 45, as AV Alta looks to grab the match by the scruff of the neck in the second half and impose their possession-oriented style on the final 45 minutes. At intermission, our scoreline reads Texoma 0, AV Alta 0. We will step aside to hear from Texoma, and when we return, a look around USL League One. Stick with us, we'll be right back. Back here in Sherman, where at halftime our scoreline in this critical six-pointer around the playoff line reads Texoma 0, AV Alta 0. It's time to get a look around USL League One, starting with our standout performers from week 30 in the competition. Let's look at our team of the week. Not many familiar faces included for either squad here. Of course, both sides falling a week ago, but some standouts throughout the competition nonetheless. Julian Cisneros and Kevin O'Connor both scoring against AV Alta, so both cracked the squad. Meanwhile, Derek Gebhardt, who also scored tonight in the victory at Portland Hearts of Pine, partners Ollie Wright and Niall Reed-Steven. Vincenzo Candela, the coach of the week. What a job he has done with Omaha, taking them from the bottom of the table into the top 6. There is plenty more content in USL League One. It's time to get a look at our goal of the week, save of the week, player of the month nominees, as well as a special feature on USL Stadium construction. Take a look.
Front of the penalty arc, rope to the back door, Hearts end line, long ball finds the back of the net. 1-0, Hearts of Pine jump out in front and home over Texoma. Messer, a laser strike.
Play towards Cerritos, still loose, Deadstone! And somehow it seems it's kept out.
Play on, nice touch. Chance for Spokane, it's Nico Brett!
Robles hooking it over the top, falls for Mensa, and there is life for Greenville.
Cross for Kasim. Played off to the top of the box!
Just played into the box, knotted down, but not out. The shot, takes a deflection, it goes in, and Tormenta takes the lead.
In the USL, shovels in the ground mean as much as scoring goals. And Sacramento Republic is on its way to transforming the city's rail yard district into a soccer palace. The same is happening in the Motor City, with Detroit City's new home clearing way for stadium construction. Miami FC has unveiled its future home in South Florida, while the Pittsburgh Riverhounds prepare for their stadium expansion, preserving one of the best views in all of sports. The growth is felt as well in League One, with expansion on the way for 2026. The scene changes daily at the site of Fort Wayne's new home, from clearing the area in early June to the sweet sight of concrete and steel in mid-September. All watched closely by Fort Wayne's Director of Communication, Justin Cohn.
Thousands of people literally drive past this thing every day. So how cool is it for everyone to get a chance to see this thing every single day get closer?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's ideally located for people going to and from work, or they're driving down to Indianapolis, and you're seeing it in really at a rapid pace come up. So you're really seeing a lot of the facade of what will be the stands start to come up.
I look at the renderings. First thing I notice is this gigantic video board. So give me some of the neat things about that, because this might be the best thing in League One for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the scoreboard is something I'm really excited about. It'll be the second longest scoreboard in the entire state. So that means it eclipses an NFL stadium. You're going to have a lot of options at Fort Wayne FC Park in terms of watching the matches. There's a lot of possibilities that you can do with the scoreboard.
Fellow League One expansion club Boise is seeing its vision take shape as construction at the park at Expo, Idaho is full speed. And longtime League One club Greenville Triumph has kicked off construction at Bridgeway Station.
tell them this like
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a load off Annie. Take a load for free.
Today we went to the beach and it was
Put the load right on me.
totally worth it. Get double points this fall at Best Western.
Hartford Athletic gets to the Jägermeister Cup final.
Sacramento sweep the penalties. Sac Republic make another indomitable run to a cup final.
We welcome you back to historic Bearcat Stadium, where the fans are out in full force for this crucial six-pointer below the playoff line in USL League One. No score at halftime between Texoma and AV Alta. It's time to get our look around the news in USL League One. A lot of key standout headlines this week, starting with Fort Wayne retaining Mike Avery for a sixth season as they make the leap to League One next year. One of many expansion clubs joining the fold and making the league family even bigger. Meanwhile, Evan Lee, he's the established presence in USL League One. Now 200 appearances for Greenville Triumph, the first League One player to amass that many appearances with any club. And then finally, a trio of teams booking their place in the postseason. Knoxville, Naples, and Spokane all clinching a week ago, and there is opportunities for more teams to do just that in the coming weeks. Speaking of the weekend, how about our score look? A crucial match for Charlotte that they drop at home despite Spokane being down a man for the bulk of the final 60 minutes. And a lot of eyebrow-raising results today. How about Portland falling 3-1 to Madison? Now forward Madison right back into the thick of the playoff hunt where they feel they belong. Other results that have gone final, Richmond Kickers upsetting one Knox at City Stadium, and then a scoreless draw that just went final between Chattanooga Red Wolves and Greenville Triumph. Madison and Greenville starting to consolidate points in their quest to break the top 8. And then, of course, one match on Sunday between Omaha and Naples, two of the hottest teams in the league. Let's look at how those results impact the standings here. This is the live table as things currently stand in USL League One. And right now, AV Alta would sit 10th on 32 points, just 2 points south of the line. Meanwhile, Texoma would leave tonight with plenty of work to do. 7 points south of the line with 3 matches to play. They would effectively need to go perfect over their final 3 matches to have a real reasonable shot of cracking the playoff places. That is your look at the results and how they influence our playoff picture in USL League One. 3 matches to go for many of these clubs come evening's end. We'll step aside briefly here from the Texoma region, and when we return, a look back at the first half that just transpired in this match below the playoff line. Stick with us. Back here from Sherman, Texas, where we get a look at our first half highlights in this critical clash between Texoma and AV Alta. And in the first half, chances few and far between. In fact, more yellow cards than clear-cut chances. Brendan McManus here getting into a tussle with his opposite number in Sebastian Cruz. Yellow cards shown both ways around the midway point of the first half. It is Cruz who logged a challenge that McManus took issue with, and both found themselves on the referee's watch list for the remainder of the night. And then later on in the first half, some chances brewing for Texoma. McManus did get a hit that was deflected rather routinely back to Denzel Smith. Other than that, though, little to write home about for either squad. It was a match in which few squads managed a shot on goal. In fact, one combined shot on goal throughout the opening 45 minutes, a slight shot edge for Texoma. And how about this? Texoma with 58% of the ball, an AV Alta side that rarely, if ever, gets outpossessed, regardless of level of opposition. They have been outpossessed comfortably thus far on the road. We are back underway from the Texoma region in Texas. This is a major inflection point in both sides' seasons. Can one of these squads steal all the spoils and buoy their playoff hopes? We are ready to roll for the final 45. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way. And only one change of note. At halftime, Brian Padilla replacing Luke McCormick in a like-for-like swap on the right flank. So that is the only alteration for either team here at intermission. An interesting change because of the 4 forward-thinking players Texoma has deployed. McCormick was one of the 2 that wasn't on yellow cards. Ashmere Spengler and Brendan McManus still on the pitch, despite cautions. Both probably the 2 biggest difference makers, though, for Texoma. Baker penalized for his slight shove on Mabumu Alassane, the 22-year-old who has played in the CAF Champions League in Africa. Cruz knocked away. We've spoken about how, given the stakes at play, and given how close in proximity these two sides are to one another in the table, just separated by 5 points entering the night, it's not surprising that it was a tentative tactical affair in the first. But as this wears on, you can expect both sides to go for it, because neither is suited well with a draw, especially not Texoma. To give away points in their penultimate home match when they are this far off the chase could prove damaging to their dwindling playoff aspirations, and Adrian Forbes knows it. It's just about picking their moments, and in that first half, they had a good chunk of control over things. When you look at the XG numbers in the first half, Texoma a .53 XG number. Not shabby, given how chances didn't exactly come by the wayside. AV Alta a .1 XG total. It is not the dominant display that Brian Claben and his staff expected from their side so far. Ramos lost his footing, and our referee waves play on. This is Blancas. It's a teasing ball in. Falls to the feet of Spengler. Both of these sides currently sporting prolonged winless runs. For Texoma, 5 matches since their victory in early August at Greenville Triumph, a 1-0 win over one of the more established clubs in the league, courtesy of Ashmere Spengler's early strike. Since then, 4 goals in the last 5 matches. AV Alta winless in their last 12 league matches. When you look at their recent run of form, they have not won a league game since July 5th, nearly 3 months ago at Union Omaha. Coincidentally, that's one of the last times Union Omaha has suffered defeat in the league. They have been nothing short of excellent in the closing stage of the season, and have revitalized potential title aspirations that looked on the back burner when they were sitting bottom of the table. Cruz shrugs off Jauna. Now Desdune in space. Decent cross in. Baker doesn't get it clear. Falls for Osvaldo Ley, who did not miss by much. And that the first real test. Javier Garcia had to pass and sees it nervously over the bar. Baker trying to clear it, didn't contact it well, and Osvaldo Ley trying to pick out that top left and just overcooks it. He's got a banger in his locker. Just ask FC Dallas how they fared against him in the US Open Cup. Scored from midfield in that fixture to level the scoreline in that round of 32 clash. AV Alta, one of the final teams standing in League One in the US Open Cup. This is Aaron McManus. Excellent recovery by Mabumu Al-Assad. But only as far as Jauna. For those that are rejoining us, we thank you for tuning in here tonight from Sherman, Texas. Texoma and AV Alta, a pair of squads desperate for 3 points, locking horns in a fixture that could determine both of their fates in the playoff chase. Texoma entered the night 8 points off the pace. AV Alta 3 points south of the line. Something has to give for one of these two sides here this evening. Baker. It is beyond the reach of Spangler. You see the relentless pressing of Brendan McManus. That is something Adrian Forbes loves about his game. Has a knack for a big goal at times, but the goals haven't always flown in consistently. It's been his work rate that has kept him on the pitch, leading the line for Los Pájaros in his first professional season. Spangler picks out Jauna with expertise. With a heavy touch right into the path of Sebastian Cruz. It is remarkable when you think about the way the table has shifted in USL League One over the last 3 months. Both of these sides, the last time they met inside the top 8, Texoma lingered around the 7-8 spot for about a month before this recent skid. And AV Alta peaked as high as second in the table before a defeat at 1 Knoxville kickstarted this prolonged run. Now both outside the top 8, and meanwhile in their stead, the likes of Portland Hearts of Pine and Union Omaha surging comfortably into the playoff places as they close their campaigns over the next month. Portland is 8 points clear of the line with 4 matches to play. A win in their next fixture, despite the defeat tonight, would allow them to clinch a playoff berth next week. And they're right in the chase for a potential home field match, which, tell you what, thinking about the sides that could host, be it FC Naples, Spokane, Portland, or Omaha, those atmospheres will prove quite difficult for these playoff hopefuls still scratching and clawing for a place in the big dance next month. Chavez. A progressive ball forward. And here's Will Perkins joining the attack. Turns on the afterburners. No one there in a black shirt to greet it though. Desdune is fouled by Jordan. And Adrian Forbes is clearly displeased with that on the touchline. He understands the stakes at play. Said this week that we understand 3 wins is the bare minimum, mathematically speaking, but at this point, they can't rely on 3 wins to do the job. They must handle every opportunity in front of them, and the first focus starts with a clean sheet, providing defensive solidity that they have lacked over the course of their winless run. He has confidence that the goals will fly in the other direction as matches wear on. Here's a switch to Desdoon, who is onside. Jerry Desdoon can't pick out the top corner, knuckled well outside the reach of the goal. Not the first true chance you've seen, though. That stoppage gives us a chance to let you know that soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. And there is not a bad seat in the house in the 6,500 venue. Historic Bearcat Stadium, the home of the Sherman Bearcats. And also the temporary home of Texoma FC, as they begin to consider a soccer-specific stadium in the heart of the Texoma region over the next few years. It is, of course, a movement throughout the league for teams to play in soccer-specific venues, and that is the aspiration for all of these new clubs. Of course, AV Alta reconstructing, or refurbishing, I should say, Lancaster Municipal Stadium into a soccer-specific venue themselves, and what an atmosphere they've built out in Lancaster. Cruz is offside. So far, the second half has picked up much like the first did. Tense. No real space for attacking players to express themselves or make an impact. A heightened emphasis on solidity for both these clubs, and that is what both coaches mentioned this week. Brian Claben stressing the importance of focus, not losing it at critical junctures. And Adrian Forbes, as we've already discussed, has highlighted that from here on out, they need to be built on the foundation, the spine of their back line. Then the attacking considerations can come into play from there. Ramos. JP Jordan. Baker. It's an inviting ball. Pajaro nods away. Cleared only as far as Ramos, though. And Jauna gives chase. Just loses the foot race with Pelivanov. Well, fans, if you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus your live matches from the USL MLS Premier League and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Inching towards the final half hour, and it is still all to play for here in Sherman, Texas. Right on the border between Texas and Oklahoma, hence the name of Texoma FC, to represent the region in which they play. Look at their crest. It is a well-defined branding situation in Texoma. They've truly thought out the way in which they want to represent their state. Of course, they have the two state birds of Texas and Oklahoma on their badge, and magnolia and red to represent Durant, Oklahoma, and red in regards to the Red River. Looks like a change is set to take place for AV Alta, their first of the night, and it is the youngster Javier Mariona who replaces Wilmer Martinez on the left flank. A like-for-like change as AV Alta perhaps throws more caution to the wind at this stage. 20-year-old Philippine international Javier Mariona has seen his minutes increase dramatically this year after being more of a reserve throughout the first half of his debut pro season with Central Valley Fuego last year. A native of Los Altos, California, who has a pair of goals to his name this season in 16 appearances. Desdoon. And he is fouled by Ozzy Ramos. At a certain point, if teams keep breaking out counters like this with true potential, you wonder when Jay Schlesinger will start to go into his pocket. None of these challenges are egregious per se, but they are clearly tactical at times. There's a clear deference to the ability of both sets of attackers to take advantage of space. Ashmir Spengler and Jerry Desdoon in particular have been kicked and grabbed throughout the evening. Jonah as well. Spengler again, latching onto this. Early cross. Goes out for a corner for Texoma. Their first of the half. And their third of the match. And this is where Ashmir Spengler can truly cause danger. Closest thing to a set-piece specialist Texoma has on its roster at the moment. Within swing to the near post. An excellent save from Denzel Smith. Falls to Padilla, who knocks it over the bar. First major test for the Trinidad and Tobago International, and it appears he's passed it with flying colors. This delivery pins the defense. It is a snapshot stop from Denzel Smith, and then Padilla's effort sails well over the crossbar. That is the level that Brian Claben expects of his goalkeepers, and that is why he raves about Denzel Smith's ability and potential between the sticks. First true chance he has to monitor, and he's unfazed despite being a mere spectator for large spells. Hearing word that more changes being readied for Texoma. Diego Pepe is set to replace Brendan McManus. Diego, of course, the brother of Ricardo Pepe, the U.S. men's national team presence, who, fun fact, played in USL League One in Texas for North Texas SC in 2019, was one of the top goal scorers in the league that year. Diego Pepe is on loan, and we're hearing word that instead of Brendan McManus, he'll actually replace Lamine Jauna. So Adrian Forbes going with two center forwards, which isn't exactly a common scenario in his system. So Jauna off after a couple of eye-catching moments, and Diego Pepe, the 20-year-old on loan from FC Dallas, to replace him. Played a prominent role in FC Dallas's youth ranks before cracking the second team with North Texas during their title-winning campaign in MLS Next Pro a year ago. Has seen his minutes fluctuate behind Brendan McManus, who has been a revelation that maybe they didn't expect early in the year. He is still dangerous nonetheless. Quite literally has goal scoring in his blood. Issues clearing from Jordan here. Only as far as Osvaldo Ley, the young Panamanian. Desdoon. Have yet to see him truly put his fingerprints on things. Alassane. Well beyond Mariano, the substitute. Pepe's first touch, and it's a good one. As this chess match wears on, question becomes how aggressive both managers get. I think Adrian Forbes has shown that they will be expansive and assertive if need be. The change to bring Pepe on certainly indicates that. Have some other presences that they can introduce if need be. The young Elder Flowers, who's an academy product. Already Padilla and Pepe on the pitch. So this is lofted forward towards Diego Pepe. Baker. Laying it off to Ashmere Spengler. Chip ball forward, can't reach McManus. Once again, Texoma able to recycle and pin AV Alta deep in its own half. It's a match that is running counter to what we may have expected. It is resembling much more of the 0-0 draw we saw in Lancaster in early May, when both these teams were still sorting things out personnel-wise. Texoma, for a while, were without 4 to 5 players due to visa issues for the first 2 months of the year. So it took them a while to get up to full health and full strength. And they were dealt critical blows with the losses of Maciek Bortniczuk and Solomon Asante to season-ending injuries. Since then, though, their personnel body has been rather consistent. The biggest what if with their season will be, what if Asante especially stayed healthy for the entirety of the year? Provided a number of memorable moments, was also the spiritual leader of the squad going forward. Best known for that dramatic late winner against Charlotte on this very ground in late June. Pelivanov is upended, and a referee may come back to this, as Brian Kleben readies a triple change. Triple change beckoning for Brian Kleben's men. And here they are, Lalo Blancas making way for Jimmy Villalobos in a like-for-like swap. Meanwhile, Alexis Cerritos as well as Christian Ortiz getting set to enter. Making way in their stead are Osvaldo Ley, Lalo Blancas, and then you would expect a fullback, but instead it's Emmanuel Alaribe. So that likely indicates Cerritos moves up top. Villalobos right in the midfield for Blancas. And then the question is where Christian Ortiz gets deployed. Is he playing more of a traditional center midfield role instead of his usual right back presence, because Sebastian Cruz has remained on the pitch. So those are the changes. Brian Kleben bringing off his firepower. Keep your eye on Jimmy Villalobos, a 30-year-old veteran of USL League One who early in the season enjoyed a goal-scoring renaissance as a box crasher and late runner. Has yet to rediscover the magic of early and mid-April, but is still always a threat as one of the more complete midfielders on the squad. Jordan was yellow carded at the end of that interchange for the challenge on Pelivanov. Baker. Ramos. Ushered wide to Perkins, who has numbers in support. Darting to the byline. Cross takes a deflection, and Texoma another corner. This feels like the type of match that may hinge on a set piece. Corner number 4, and Ashmere Spengler once again is tasked with delivering. What can he conjure here? Taken within swing to the heart of the area, still loose, appeals for a penalty that are dismissed by Jay Schlesinger. Spengler again. This cross lacked the ferocity of the first. Perkins. Also appeals that maybe that ball crossed the goal line, but did not look that it had the venom to cross. Was cleared right off the back post. Pelivanov. Now this has the feeling it may open up. Both sides playing direct, long balls, looking to catch the opposing defense out. These are the moment where it may come down to individual execution, or it may just be a night where defense rules the day. McManus tugged by Pelivanov. Fans, eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Final 20 minutes here from historic Bearcat Stadium in Sherman, Texas. And these are the biggest 20 minutes of both these squads' seasons to date. Both sides below the playoff line by multiple points, needing 3 points to kickstart their respective playoff pushes, and neither unable to unlock the opposite backlines just yet. Texoma with the best of the chances. A header that was denied by Denzel Smith. The only glaring opportunity for either side. Starting to be the time where especially Texoma needs to take risks. A penultimate home match in a scenario where they find themselves 8 points south of the line entering the night's action. If this result were to hold, it would not do much in terms of making up ground. They'd just be 7 points below Charlotte Independence for the 8th and final spot, and they would still sit 12th in the process. Do have one final fixture at home next week against Richmond in what could effectively be a contest that determines who is eliminated from contention come the end of the weekend. And then back-to-back away from home at Knoxville and then away at Red Hot Tormenta on Judgment Day. Los Pájaros hoping that those last two are even relevant. Perkins crosses, McManus tugged down in the area, and a referee does point to the spot. And here is the moment that could define the night. Brendan McManus dragged down ever so slightly by Kalayan Pelivanov. And that is what draws Jay Schlesinger's attention. It's not the best of crosses. There is slight contact, although you'd have to get another look to see if this is enough to give it. Either way, our referee has pointed to the spot, and that provides Texoma a golden chance to open the scoring in a match they effectively have to win. All hinges on Denzel Smith and his opposite number. It is Ashmir Spengler who stands over it. The 24-year-old who has fueled this team going forward all year long with 8 goals to his name. Looking to power Texoma in front at the biggest juncture of the match. And he'll have to wait in suspense a little bit longer as a referee gets things situated. It is Spengler against Denzel Smith. This is the high pressure moment for both involved. Spengler finishes. Coolly rolls it into the bottom left, and Texoma in front in a must-win fixture. Texoma 1, Alta 0. Ajmer Spengler on the score sheet. You see Brendan McManus dragged down by Pelivanov. It is the slightest of contact that draws the referee's ire. And pressure, what pressure? Sends Smith the wrong way and rolls it into the bottom left corner. Ajmer Spengler with goal 9 of the season, and Texoma off and running in the closing stages. He has been the creative talisman, the mastermind going forward all year. And in year 2 as a professional, he scores what arguably is his biggest goal to date. Puts Texoma in front in a match they effectively need to win for their playoff hopes. And they are winning now. Joining the club from South Georgia Tormenta this offseason, after ending the year with 2 goals and 6 assists to his name. There were moments of brilliance, but on a season where Tormenta struggled, it came in waves. This season for Texoma, he has been the consistent force as a number 10. And who else but him to step up and slot the penalty home in the highest pressure moment of Texoma's season thus far. And now they're pushing for more. McManus is in. He beats Pelivanov, and what a save from Denzel Smith, who keeps AV Alta in it for now. They could have put it to bed then and there. What a chance. Vertical ball. Pelivanov shrugged off by McManus, who's won the battle twice in as many minutes. But Denzel Smith quickly off his line to turn him away. And now changes for Brian Claben. Eric Ceja out, Steven Ramos in. And the 19-year-old is a face that Texoma fans likely don't want to see. He is the lad that capped off the 3-goal comeback to salvage a draw in the dying embers of the last meeting on this very ground in late August. He is into the action in a scenario where AV Alta must score to keep itself at least within striking distance of the playoff line in the coming weeks. As things stand, in line to leave a major 3 points on the table. Could have ended the night level on points with 8th place Charlotte. Now they find themselves staring another defeat in the face. Desdoon hooks this to the back post. The Texoma player is down and a referee waves play on. Now Cruz. And now they'll come back to the earlier coming together. And it appears that this may be given against Texoma. Pushing and shoving. If anything, this should be against Pelivanov, who, to his credit, does well to fool our referee. And it is a free kick now from the opposite flank. You wonder now, without Lalo Blancas, if the quality on these deliveries is as high. Jerry Desdoon is a solid option in this scenario, though. Toward the back post again. Flicked on by Pajaro, and no one there to greet it. Fans, the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Final moments of this one as we approach the final 10 minutes in a fixture that had a must-win feel for both clubs just to get their momentum in the right direction. And right now, Texoma is winning it, courtesy of a 74th minute Ajmer Spengler penalty. You wonder in the expert analysis after the fact what the conversation will be around the awarding of that penalty. because there was contact from Kaloyan Pelivanov on Brendan McManus in the box, but there was not much. On a different night, maybe that isn't given. I don't think Los Pájaros or the home fans will be complaining, though. Another free kick for Texoma, and bodies forward yet again. Ramos and Baker, and now it is just Baker. Arcing it into the court of uncertainty, and Smith collects authoritatively. Well, if this result holds, it would be a 13 consecutive league match without a win for Brian Claben's men. They would tumble from 9th in the table to 11th, at least given the current run of results at the moment. With Greenville earning a scoreless draw at Chattanooga and Ford Madison toppling Portland Hearts of Pine, they would both leapfrog AV Alta, ahead of the final 3 matches of the season. And while AV Alta would not be out of the race by any means, still 3 points off the pace, the task would get that much more difficult with more drop points away from home. It's a heavy touch from Baker, and out of play for a goal kick. Desdoon. Floating wide. Evades the sliding challenge. Ortiz. Looking for the return ball. Diego Pepe tracks him step for step brilliantly. Not often you see that defensive work rate from an out-and-out striker, but that is what Pepe provides in that moment. And it will take more effort from himself and everyone involved to protect this narrow advantage. Texoma would go just 5 points south of the top 8 with 3 matches remaining on its docket. And what an improved position that would be for them compared to how they entered the evening. Pepe pressing and overzealous in his attempts to win it back. And Christian Ortiz may not be the fondest of one another in the closing stages here. Ramos is down. He's the captain with the substitution of others on the pitch. And it is actually Jordan Chavez who's down. Ramos is back up to his feet. And their longtime captain, the 28-year-old with years of USL League One experience, is slow to get up. He's undercut in many ways by Cerritos, or by Pájaro. Both go up and Chavez goes higher and may have taken contact into the small of his back. Plenty of work to be done, but he must be pleased with the performance he's seen thus far. Texoma controlling the run of play, still with 58% of the ball tonight, and deserved leaders at the moment. But the job is not finished yet, and with such fine margins in a contest like this, so much could change things. Brian Claben probably cuts a more frustrated figure on his touchline, his side not creating to the degree he would have hoped, but still time to rescue a result and keep themselves in the immediate postseason chase. These final 7 minutes and change could define both of these club seasons. AV Alta would not be out of the chase, but it would be more difficult with less margin for error for sure. Meanwhile, Texoma would reinvigorate postseason hopes that were looking like they were clinging to a thread at the start of the week. And when you think about their upcoming fixtures, the 6-pointer against Richmond next week on this very ground, if they can take 6 from 6 across this one and the next, they'll put themselves right back in the conversation again. A side that has won just one of its last 14 in all competitions can end that run at the most optimal moment. Hooked up by Chavez. Falls for Cerritos, who sticks with it. Now Desdoon. Cross cut out at the source and falls nicely for Pepe. Left it dangling to Villalobos. Referee waves play on. Chip towards Cerritos. Critical intervention from McManus, and now Desdoon, who is dispossessed by JP Jordan. Final 5 minutes now. The urgency palpable from AV Alta. Spangler. Baker. A second would all but finish things. This is Diego Pepe. It is a season for Texoma that has been categorized by distinctly different runs of form. Winless in the first 9 in all comps, then unbeaten in the next League 8 matches, next 8 league matches. And now the run, where they've won just one of their last 14. If they can end the season in a strong vein of form though, and create an oscillation in their form once again, they can put themselves right into the thick of the discussion. Pajaro charged away, only as far as Villalobos, but it does fall for Spangler, who has numbers in support as well. Padilla. The ball to Spangler, not enough on it. Perkins darting forward and loses the physical battle on the far side with Al-Hassan. Shown the yellow card as well for his trouble. Both fullbacks for Texoma now walking the tightrope for the remainder of this one. Pinged wide, and numbers surge forward now. Ortiz. At this point, it is just as much about game management for Texoma as it is about critical finishing if they are presented the chance to do so. But the primary goal is to see this out by any means necessary. Those exact words used by Adrian Forbes this week. Winning by any means necessary. Says he has the utmost of respect for AV Alta. But for 2 hours, that's set aside as they look to pick up 3 points that they desperately covet. Foul is given against Padilla to the chagrin of those in attendance as we hit the final 90 seconds of our initial 90. Time running thin on the visitors. Villalobos. Jordan does keep this in play. And then fouled by Pelivanov. He commits the foul. Ramos was booked moments ago. Desdoon. Spengler away. Final minute now. Everyone forward now in the whites of AV Alta. That knocked out of play for a goal kick, and Texoma can alleviate some of this pressure. One final change seems to be taking place. They'll wait on potential changes until later on. All eyes will be on our fourth official in a matter of seconds. And everyone in the building here for Texoma will be hoping that number is low. Unfortunately, it's 6 minutes as far as they're concerned. Fortunately for AV Alta, renewed hope as they look to manufacture a way back into this. This will be the longest 6 minutes of everyone donning the red and white kits of Texoma. It will go by in a blink for those in maroon and white. As things stand, Ashmir Spengler's 74th minute penalty is enough to make the difference in a match that has been nip and tuck the whole way. Narrow margins define results, and that has been the case thus far. Baker cuts it back. Can't reach Spengler. Jordan there to intercept up. And now Cruz for AV Alta. Ortiz. Desdoon. Ushered back to Garcia, albeit awkwardly. Pepe chases. Ortiz first to it. Desdoon. Ramos joining the attack. He broke Texoma hearts about a month ago, and he plays this through brilliantly. Mariona cuts it across, and there's the equalizer. Alexis Cerritos pulls AV Alta level. A super sub, and what a moment for it. 1-1. A sweeping move from AV Alta. Ramos forward to Mariona, and then laid off perfectly to Alexis Cerritos, who tucks it home in clinical fashion. And once again in the late stages, AV Alta looks like they've rescued a point. A huge goal for AV Alta, even if they have to settle for a split of the spoils. Alexis Cerritos, his 4th of the season in league play, receiving it on the cutback from Javier Mariona. 2 substitutes connecting. And AV Alta clawing their way back level. And they'll continue to chase this as well. Cruz. Can they flip it on its head? Desdoon. Darted across again. Sebastian Cruz. It's blocked at the source. Desdoon. Ortiz continues his run and out for a corner. And the wind is now in AV Alta's sails. Can they find a winner and end what has been the longest winless run in their club's young history? As things stand, they've rescued a desperately needed point. But Brian Claben didn't mince words. He said they're chasing all 3. Desdoon stands over the corner. Without swing. Charged away at the near post. Cruz with room to hit. Sebastian Cruz. Effort is deflected, and another corner on the way. If you're just joining us, Alexis Cerritos pulling AV Alta level in stoppage time after AV Alta's most fluid move of the night. Mariona into the path of Cerritos to slot it home. And now they have AV Alta dreaming that it could end with all three instead of one. Desdoon this time will take from the opposite flank, and this will be an in-swinger, so plenty for Javier Garcia to monitor. Late heartbreak for Texoma yet again, falling late against Westchester, conceding a late equalizer in the last AV Alta meeting on this very ground. In-swinging ball, it's still loose, finally out of danger. Ramos, he kick-started the move, brilliant ball, Mariona across, and no one there in white to greet it. Final minute of the added 6, and it looks like we will still have more drama on our hands. Lofted long, McManus giving chase, and he's nearly won it. Instead falls for Villalobos. Desdoon. Darting forward, Jerry Desdoon can't thread it through. Ramos rounds one defender. Mariona upended by Jordan Chavez, and a free kick before things are done. A match in which things were so cagey until Spengler's opener has gone haywire in the late stages. Heroics from Alexis Cerritos in stoppage time. We are beyond the 6 minutes. This likely the final chance of the night for the visitors. And Jerry Desdoon once again is assigned with taking this free kick. To be in his boots. Doesn't clear the first line of defense. It falls from Abumu Alassane, deflected out, and there may be time for this corner. That there is. We play on into the Sherman night. It will require a delicious delivery to make a difference now. Desdoon again. Without swing, headed along all the way through now. And there is the full-time whistle. Smith was all the way up, but unable to make a difference. And Texoma dropping a valuable 2 points at home. Alexis Cerritos rescuing a point as AV Alta grabs a goal at the death to salvage a result for the second consecutive time. And through 3 meetings, nothing to separate these two sides. It ends Texoma 1, AV Alta 1. A night in which chances were few and far between for the bulk of the 90 minutes. Popped off in the closing stages. And at full time, it ends with the spoils shared. We'll step aside here from Texoma, and when we return, a look back at what proved to be an eventful closing stages in Sherman. Stick with us.
What is Parker Performance Institute about? At Parker Performance Institute, we empower individuals to unlock their full potential. Our goal is to provide brain and body care to speed up recovery, improve function, and enhance performance. Our patients range from concussion and brain injury to sports injuries and prevention. We'll tailor a treatment plan for your best results. Being the healthiest you can be is important to you and us. Discover how we can help by visiting ParkerPerformanceInstitute.com.
Parker University offers a range of degrees tailored for aspiring health professionals looking to work in the areas of sports, fitness, strength, and wellness. Degrees available include functional nutrition, strength and human performance, sports psychology, anatomy, and more. All programs are fully online with financial aid available to those who qualify. Whether you are an athlete or want to help others live their best life, check us out at parker.edu. That's parker.edu.
We welcome you back to Sherman, Texas, where the spoils are shared in a clash that was must-win for both of these clubs. Late match heroics allow AV Alta to salvage a point. Ashmere Spengler opened the scoring with a second-half penalty, but his effort matched by the late drama of Alexis Cerritos, which for the second consecutive time allows AV Alta to rescue a point at the death against Los Pájaros. We jump into our full-time highlights. A cagey affair through 75 minutes, not a lot in it, and then in the second half things started to pop off. Osvaldo Ley nearly opening the scoring with this long-range effort off the scuff clearance by Teddy Baker, but always rising, never dipping, and unable to pick out top bins. Meanwhile, on the other end, this effort from point-blank range, denied by Denzel Smith. What a header this was from Ozzy Ramos, but just turned away. And then in the late stages, on 74 minutes, Brendan McManus tugged down in the area by Kaloyan Pelivanov. You can dispute whether or not this is enough contact for a penalty, but it was given by the referee, and Ashmere Spengler, cool as you like, sending Denzel Smith the wrong way. It looked like Texoma would be in line for a desperately needed 3 points, but AV Alta with other ideas after Spengler's opener. There was one more chance. Brendan McManus did charge through on goal, but was denied by Denzel Smith, and they'll come back to this as a potential moment that could have sealed it. And then at the death, they did pay the price for their lack of clinical finishing. This ball through to Javier Mariona. He laid it off to Alexis Cerritos, who drove it into the bottom right in stoppage time. And for the second consecutive time with these two sides meeting, AV Alta able to steal a result at the death and move within 2 points of the playoff line. Here is your look at the full-time stats. Texoma, the better of the possession, one of the first teams that is able to outpossess AV Alta over the course of 90 minutes, outshooting AV Alta as well in terms of shots on goal, even though the total shot tally is even. The biggest stat that doesn't show up here, though, XG. Texoma, 1.63 to 0.63 for AV Alta, but the only true stat that really matters is the 1-1 score line that allows AV Alta to knife the gap between themselves and the top 8 to just 2 points. It ends with late devastation here in Texoma for the home side. Minutes away from securing a desperately needed 3 points. Instead, they leave 2 on the table as AV Alta rescues a result away from home. For our terrific crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb saying so long from Sherman, where it finishes 1-1. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.